that happened to be my first year here. So I took this job in April of 2014. Now we're in November of 2025, and it's the best decision I ever made.
I love to hear that story. You have all the championships, all the banners outside, but when you first got here, it wasn't like that at all. And in order to be successful, you mentioned you have to have a group of people supporting you. How did you get the institution to back you when it wasn't really known at that point in time for a successful basketball?
No, the apathy here was palpable. The legendary coaches were long gone. Guy V. Lewis, Hall of Famer, author of Phi Slamma Jamma, Coach Bill Yeoman, all the great success those guys had. That was in the early to mid 80s. Well, Coach Lewis had great success from Elvin Hayes, the late 60s to the mid 80s. But since then to 2014, they were kind of a house that had been ignored, and then it became dilapidated. While other schools went forward with facilities and marketing and promotions and things, we were dormant. We became a field where everybody threw the empty cans and the bottles, and trash blew up against the fence, and it was just a place where it was just ignored for a long, long time. Really, the thing they were good at was firing coaches. So when I was doing my research, I noticed that the last 16 years they had 4 coaches. So every 4 years they fired a coach. So they fired the one before me. Now they were going to bring me in. But I had one advantage in that I didn't call them. They called me. And so if we're going to do this, here's what I need. Now, they had never won in the administration I was with then had never won in basketball, so there wasn't a lot of relative conversations. They were budget conscious, where I was championship conscious. You can't win championships at this budget. We'd never chartered before. We'd never had a meal service for the players. They just ate in the dorms like any other students. We didn't have a dedicated strength coach. The one we had worked with 5 other sports or 4 other sports. So, but I'd come from championship teams, whether it was at Montana Tech or Oklahoma. We'd won championships. We'd won 4 in the Big 12 even. So, but the biggest thing was getting them to align with where I wanted the program to be, and that was very difficult. Because there wasn't a lot, we didn't have a lot in common. But sometimes, life is like the battle between the river and the rock. The river always wins. And I knew at that time I had to overcome what we weren't doing and be the river. And so the river won.
I like that. When you look at what you've been able to do in your tenure here, many people consider it success. But how will you define what success is?
Well, you can look at it different ways. I don't think I would be coaching today if it not for my son and my daughter being here. Most people don't know what they don't know. But because we live in a world where everybody's allowed to give your opinion, whether it's stupid or not, they still do it.
Yeah.
Because you have a platform. So there's a lot of calls for nepotism when I wanted to hire my son and daughter. So I just chalked it up. You don't know what you don't know. You'll see. My son's the coach in waiting, associate coach. He's turned down many head coaching opportunities to be the head coach here one day. My daughter, everything you see in this building that you see has her fingerprints on it. Her mind's constantly working for ways to keep this program relevant 12 months a year, whether it's through Instagram or this or this or this. She's always working. When I lose an assistant coach, I'm going to replace him usually from within. Mm-hmm. Very rarely do I go outside our family. But if I lost Lauren, I wouldn't know what to do. There is not another Lauren. Other schools hire coaches in that spot. I didn't hire a coach. I hired somebody that would be dedicated to making this program relevant 12 months a year, deal with families, be a conduit between me and the administration. And I cannot imagine that for us being at this level. And she does most of her things in anonymity. Nobody knows about it. And but her and Kelvin, because of their expertise, not because they're my son and daughter, because they're the best. I think Kelvin's the best assistant coach in America. I think Lauren's the best at her job in the country. So when we have success, I get way too much credit for the success. I would pass it along to all the guys here. You know, Hollis Price has been with me for going on 12 years. One of the best players I ever coached at Oklahoma. Casey Beer's been with me for 12 years. He and I worked together with the Canadian senior national team in Toronto. So we've always had a great staff, and I give our staff a lot of credit.
Whoa. Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah.